Control. That's the word that separates the weak from the strong. Every reaction, every thought, every breath, you either control it or it controls you. The truth is simple: the mind is a weapon, but most people never learn how to use it. They live like slaves to emotion, impulse, and noise, never realizing that mastery is not about strength, it's about restraint. This audiobook is not motivation. It's training. Training your mind to be still under pressure, focused under chaos, and ruthless when it matters most. Because until you master your mind, you master nothing.
Chapter 1. Stop being controlled. Start controlling. Control. That's the difference between the ones who move forward and the ones who stay stuck. Most people think they're in control, but they're not. They react. They flinch. They panic. They let every word, every look, every setback dictate how they feel. You have to understand this truth. You are not your emotions. You are not your impulses. You are the awareness behind them. That's the key. Every time you get angry, every time you lose focus, every time you let someone else's actions change your energy, you give them power. You hand over the steering wheel of your life. You become a passenger. And that's how most people live, not as creators, but as reactors. Their emotions run the show. They wake up, check their phone, see something that bothers them, and their day is gone before it even starts. You can't live like that and expect power. You can't build a life of strength on emotional chaos. You have a choice. You always have a choice. In every situation, in every moment, you can decide. Will I control this mind, or will it control me? Think about it like a battlefield. A soldier doesn't have the luxury of reacting emotionally. He can't scream when bullets fly. He can't freeze when fear hits. He can't collapse when things go wrong. He feels fear. Of course he does. But he controls it. He channels it. He turns fear into focus. That's the difference between training and chaos. Between the warrior and the crowd. The soldier doesn't need calm conditions to stay centered. He creates calm within chaos. He doesn't wait for peace, he becomes it. And that's exactly what mental control is. It's not about eliminating emotion. It's about commanding it. Remember this: you either command your mind, or your mind commands you. Every reaction is a choice. You may not control what happens, but you always control what you do next. You control your breath. You control your response. You control the meaning you give things. That's where all your power lives, in your response. When something doesn't go your way, stop asking, "Why me?" Ask, "What now?" When someone disrespects you, don't react to prove your worth. Stay silent. Stay calm. Let your results do the talking. Control is quiet. Weakness is loud. The loudest person in the room is usually the most unstable. Because real power doesn't need to be seen, it needs to be held. You don't need their approval. You don't need their attention. You don't need their permission. You just need control. But here's what stops most people: comfort. They don't want to sit in discomfort. They want to vent, react, express. They want to explode so they can feel relief. But that's not mastery. That's surrender. The person who can feel everything and still act with discipline, that's control. That's power. You don't train control when everything is easy. You train it in the small moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic and you don't react. When someone insults you and you stay calm. When your plans fall apart and you keep moving forward anyway. Those moments are reps. Mental reps. Every time you resist the urge to react, you strengthen the muscle of control. That's how a warrior trains, silently, patiently, consistently. Let me say it again: you either command your mind, or your mind commands you. When you wake up, your mind wants comfort. It wants ease. It whispers, "Stay in bed. Skip the workout. Check your phone." If you listen, you lose. If you obey, you stay stuck. Your job is not to obey the mind. Your job is to train it. Discipline is your weapon. Awareness is your armor. You have to learn to observe the mind like you'd watch a storm. You don't chase every cloud. You don't panic with every gust. You stand still and let it pass. The storm always passes, but only if you don't get caught in it. So how do you build this kind of control? You start small. You start with awareness. The next time you feel emotion rising, pause. Take one breath. Just one. That's your first act of control. Because in that breath, you remind your body who's in charge. Not the fear. Not the anger. Not the impulse. You. Then you make a decision, not from emotion, but from clarity. This is how you break the cycle. This is how you go from being controlled to being in control. The mind is like a wild horse. If you let it run free, it'll destroy everything in its path. But if you train it, if you hold the reins, it'll carry you anywhere. And training doesn't happen once. It happens daily. Every thought, every reaction, every emotion. That's your gym. That's your battlefield. Control is not about perfection. It's about awareness. You will lose control sometimes. You'll react. You'll fall back. But the difference is, now you'll notice. You'll catch yourself faster. You'll recover quicker. That's growth. The average person lives like a puppet, pulled by emotion, controlled by fear, driven by validation. But you're done being average. You're training to be dangerous, not through anger, but through composure. Because nothing is more dangerous than a man who's calm when others panic. That's the warrior mind. That's control. Say it with me, you either command your mind or your mind commands you. Control begins in awareness. Awareness leads to discipline. Discipline leads to freedom. When you control your thoughts, you control your world. When you master your emotions, you master your destiny. Because emotion is energy. And energy, when directed, becomes creation. But emotion, when uncontrolled, becomes destruction. That's the truth most people never face. They think emotion is power. But untrained emotion is weakness. You can't lead others until you lead yourself. You can't master success until you master silence. You can't hold power until you can hold your composure. So from now on, remember this. Control isn't something you find. It's something you practice. Every single day. When you feel the urge to react, stop. When you feel fear, breathe. When you feel anger, choose stillness. Because you have a choice. You always have a choice. And the moment you choose awareness over reaction, that's the moment you become powerful. That's the first step to building the warrior mind. You've learned how to stop being controlled. Now it's time to go deeper, to strip emotion of its power and see it for what it truly is, a test. You mastered your awareness. Now, let's master your emotions. Chapter 2. Emotion is a test, not a truth. Emotion. It's the storm that lives inside you. It's powerful, it's unpredictable, and if you don't control it, it will control you. You need to understand this right now. Emotion is not truth. Emotion is not evidence. Emotion is not reality. It's a signal. It's a message. It's a test. Every emotion that rises within you, anger, fear, sadness, jealousy, is asking one question. Are you in control, or am I? That's the test. Most people fail it. They treat emotion like a command. They feel anger, so they attack. They feel fear, so they freeze. They feel doubt, so they quit. They don't question it. They obey it. But emotion is not a dictator. It's feedback. It's data. It's information about what's happening inside you, not a truth about what's happening around you. Feeling is not fact. Emotion is not evidence. That's the key. You have to train yourself to pause between emotion and action. That space, that single moment, is where strength is built. That's where discipline lives. The average person reacts instantly. You're not average anymore. You're training to respond with clarity. When something triggers you, breathe. One breath. That's your signal to the brain, I'm in charge now. You don't have to speak. You don't have to move. You don't have to explain. You have to control. Because control in that moment is everything. It's the line between chaos and command, between power and weakness. Think about the greatest leaders you've ever known, not the loud ones, not the emotional ones, but the calm ones. The leader who's under attack. People are shouting. Rumors are spreading. Everyone wants a reaction. But he stays silent. He pauses. He measures his words. He doesn't speak to defend himself. He speaks to direct the room. That's power. That's emotional intelligence under pressure. Not because he feels nothing, but because he commands what he feels. You see, self-control is not the absence of emotion. It's the mastery of it. You can feel anger without acting on it. You can feel fear without retreating. You can feel doubt and still move forward. That's the skill of the warrior mind, to feel everything but be ruled by nothing. The truth is, your emotions lie to you. They exaggerate. They distort. They pull you into illusions that feel real in the moment but fade with time. You've felt it before. The anger that seemed so justified, until you cooled down. The fear that felt so real, until you looked closer. The sadness that felt endless, until morning came. That's what emotion does. It screams louder than reality. And if you believe it, you'll make permanent decisions from temporary feelings. You can't build your life like that. You can't trust a storm to tell you where to sail. Feeling is not fact. Emotion is not evidence. You need to test every emotion that shows up at your door. Ask it, what are you trying to teach me? Is this truth, or is this weakness pretending to be truth? That's awareness. That's control. Let's make this practical. When you feel anger, pause. Don't fight it. Don't feed it. Label it. Anger is here. That one sentence separates you from it. You're no longer in the emotion. You're observing it. And when you observe, you control. When you feel fear, breathe. Don't try to erase it. Channel it. Let fear sharpen your senses, not paralyze them. When you feel sadness, sit with it. Don't drown in it, but don't deny it either. Ask, what is this emotion trying to show me? Maybe it's loss. Maybe it's longing. Maybe it's misalignment. But whatever it is, it's not truth, it's feedback. Emotion is your mirror, not your master. Here's what most people never learn. You can respect your emotions without surrendering to them. You can listen to them without obeying them. That's maturity. That's control. Because emotion is raw energy, and energy can either destroy or build. Anger can destroy relationships, or it can build determination. Fear can paralyze progress, or it can build focus. Sadness can weaken resolve, or it can build empathy. The emotion itself isn't the problem. Your reaction to it is. So, you have to ask yourself, am I using my emotions, or are they using me? That's the difference between chaos and control. You have a choice. Every day, every hour, you have a choice. You can be ruled by emotion like most people, or you can pass the test. When someone disrespects you, you can choose silence. When life hits you with uncertainty, you can choose composure. When doubt whispers, you're not ready, you can choose to move anyway. Because emotion will always test you. It never stops. But if you train for it, if you stay calm under the test, you'll realize something powerful. Emotion is not your enemy. It's your gym. It's where you get stronger. Every wave of feeling is another rep in your mental training. Every storm is another chance to practice stillness. That's how you build the warrior mind, repetition under pressure. Here's the truth. The world doesn't need more emotional people. It needs more controlled people. Calm thinkers. Quiet movers. Grounded warriors. People who don't crumble at the first feeling. People who can stand still while others fall apart. People who can lead when everyone else reacts. That's who you're becoming. That's what this training is doing. It's reprogramming how you interpret emotion. Because you can't control what you feel. But you can control what you do with what you feel. And that's everything. Feeling is not fact. Emotion is not evidence. Write it down. Memorize it. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. When emotion rises, awareness must rise faster. When chaos appears, composure must appear sooner. That's mastery. That's the psychology of control. The next time you're tested, and you will be, remember this. Your emotions are messengers, not masters. They arrive to guide, not to govern. They ask for attention, not obedience. Don't fail the test by reacting. Pass it by choosing awareness. Because every time you choose awareness over impulse, you evolve. You become stronger. You become colder. You become calmer. That's the essence of control, not running from emotion, but ruling it. So when the next wave hits, and it will, don't drown. Stand tall. Watch it. Breathe through it. And when it passes, you'll realize you didn't need to fight it. You only needed to control yourself. That's the power most people never reach. Because they never stop to realize, emotion is a test, not a truth. And if you can pass that test, you can control anything. You've learned that emotion isn't your truth, it's your training. Now it's time to learn the next step in mastery, letting go. Not of effort, but of attachment. Because control isn't just about emotion, it's about freedom from outcomes. You passed the test. Now, learn detachment. Chapter 3. Detach or be destroyed. Attachment is the silent killer of mental strength. It's what makes you desperate. It's what makes you weak. When you attach your peace to outcomes, you hand over control of your mind. And once your mind is gone, your power is gone. Detach or be destroyed. That's not a slogan, it's a survival rule. Most people live in emotional slavery. They rise when things go their way. They fall apart when they don't. They are yo-yos, controlled by results, reactions, and recognition. They don't own their emotions own them. You have to break that chain. You have to detach. Because attachment to outcomes breeds chaos. You can't control the outcome. You can only control the input. You can't control the world. You can only control your effort. You can't control how people treat you. You can only control how you respond. That's the key. The mind of a warrior doesn't chase outcomes. It focuses on process. Because the process is where discipline lives. The process is where power is built. The process is where freedom is found. When you're attached to results, you live in anxiety. When you're attached to mastery, you live in clarity. Detach from outcome. Attach to mastery. That's the rule. Think of the stoic athlete. He walks onto the field, calm. Win or lose, his expression doesn't change. Not because he doesn't care, but because his identity is built on discipline, not validation. He doesn't seek applause. He seeks execution. He doesn't crave reward. He craves progress. That's mastery. And mastery is emotional independence. When you detach from outcome, you stop chasing approval. You stop performing for others. You stop needing validation. You start doing the work for its own sake. You start playing for the love of the game, not the trophy. Here's what attachment looks like. You check your phone every 5 minutes to see if someone texted back. You post something online and refresh the page, waiting for likes. You make a move in your career and then lose sleep wondering if people noticed. That's weakness. That's dependence disguised as ambition. You think you're chasing success, but you're actually begging for attention. And attention is a drug. It feeds your ego while starving your spirit. Detach. Detach from the noise. Detach from the scoreboard. Detach from needing to win today. You don't need their permission to feel worthy. You don't need their applause to keep going. You don't need their recognition to prove your value. You just need your discipline. Most people can't handle silence because it reveals how attached they are to noise. They need to feel seen, validated, acknowledged, constantly. That's not strength. That's dependency. You want freedom? Stop depending on outcomes to tell you who you are. Stop depending on success to make you feel safe. Stop depending on other people's opinions to feel real. Detach from outcome. Attached to mastery. That's your power move. When you live detached, you perform with peace. You make decisions from strength, not fear. You execute without hesitation. You recover without panic. You don't crumble when things go wrong. You don't inflate when things go right. You stay even, steady, focused, because you know who you are regardless of what happens. That's real power. You see, emotion follows attachment. When you're attached to success, failure devastates you. When you're attached to control, uncertainty paralyzes you. When you're attached to people, rejection crushes you. But when you detach, you stay grounded. You stop overreacting. You stop trying to force outcomes. You stop living in the future. You stay in the present, where the work happens. And the present is where power lives. Detached doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care without clinging. It means you give your best effort, then release the rest. It means you trust your preparation more than your emotions. People misunderstand detachment. They think it's cold. They think it's emotionless. It's not. It's controlled emotion. It's emotional maturity. Detachment is not the absence of feeling. It's the mastery of feeling. You feel everything, but nothing owns you. Here's how you practice detachment in real life. 1. Detach from praise. When someone compliments you, say thank you, then move on. Don't let it inflate you. Don't make it your identity. 2. Detach from criticism. When someone disrespects you, don't react. Learn if there's truth in it. If not, discard it. Either way, don't let it poison your focus. 3. Detach from control. The world is chaos. You can't control everything. Stop trying. Control your actions. Control your breath. Control your response. 4. Detach from results. Focus on your habits. Focus on consistency. The result will come when it's earned, not when it's chased. 5. Detach from identity. Don't call yourself a winner or loser. Don't define yourself by titles. Define yourself by discipline. When you detach, something magical happens. You gain peace. And peace is the ultimate advantage. You think success gives peace? No. Peace gives success. Because peace gives you clarity. Clarity gives you control. Control gives you consistency. And consistency wins everything. That's the chain reaction of mastery. Detach from outcome. Attach to mastery. That's the mantra of an unshakable mind. Let me remind you of something. You have a choice. You can live like everyone else, obsessed with results, addicted to validation, trapped in anxiety. Or you can choose mastery, calm, focused, disciplined, detached. You can choose to chase emotion. Or you can choose to lead emotion. One path destroys you. The other builds you. Detach or be destroyed. That's the truth. And here's the beauty of it. Once you detach, life can't control you anymore. The world still moves, but you move on your own terms. Wins don't make you arrogant. Losses don't make you broken. You become balanced. That's when you become dangerous. Because nothing, and no one, can move you off your center. Detach from outcome. Attach to mastery. Say it again. Make it your law. Because that's the key to real strength, the kind that doesn't need to prove itself. You've learned to master emotion. Now you've learned to detach from the noise. But there's another layer to discipline, one that separates the calm from the chaotic, the strong from the scattered. You mastered detachment. Now it's time to master direction. Chapter 4. Your mind is a weapon. Sharpen it daily. Your mind is a weapon. And like any weapon, it dulls when you stop using it. That's the truth most people forget. They think mental strength is permanent. It's not. It fades. It rusts. It softens. Just like muscle, your mind atrophies without resistance. A dull blade can't protect you. A dull mind can't guide you. That's the key. You can't afford a dull mind in a world this sharp. You're surrounded by distractions designed to numb you, notifications, noise, comfort, indulgence. Every click, every scroll, every easy choice dulls your edge. The average person doesn't think anymore. They react. They repeat. They consume. They drift. But you're not average. You're here because you want to be dangerous in the right way. You want to carry a mind that cuts through chaos. A mind that's alert, disciplined, and unbreakable. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens by training. Daily. Because mental strength decays without sharpening. And sharpening is a deliberate act. Let's make it simple. If your mind is a blade, then every day must be a grindstone. You sharpen through discomfort. You sharpen through reflection. You sharpen through repetition. Those are your 3 mental reps. They're not optional. They're your maintenance, your edge work. First, sharpen through discomfort. Comfort kills sharpness. Every time you avoid discomfort, your edge dulls a little more. You trade mental power for temporary ease. You get soft. You get slow. You get fragile. You must seek small doses of difficulty daily. Cold showers. Early mornings. Hard workouts. Challenging conversations. Not because you love pain, but because you love strength. You have to train your brain to stay calm under strain. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how the mind hardens. Every time you step into discomfort willingly, you teach your mind a message. I'm in control. That's mental armor. Avoid it, and life will control you. Face it, and life will obey you. That's the key. Second, sharpen through reflection. You can't improve what you don't observe. You can't learn from experience if you never slow down to study it. Reflection is the mirror of the mind. And most people never look into it. They repeat the same mistakes because they never pause to ask why. They react, they regret, and they repeat. But you reflect. You dissect your thoughts. You analyze your emotions. You evaluate your day like a warrior studying his own performance. That's how awareness grows. That's how wisdom compounds. Take 10 minutes a day, no distractions. Sit in silence. Ask yourself, what did I do right today? What did I do wrong? What did I learn? Then write it down. Journaling isn't weakness, it's precision. It's how you sharpen your thinking. Because what gets written gets clarified. And what gets clarified gets controlled. You don't need more noise. You need reflection. You don't need more motivation. You need awareness. A dull blade swings wildly. A sharp blade cuts clean. That's what reflection does. It makes your actions clean. Third, sharpen through repetition. The mind learns by doing, not once, but daily. You can't meditate once and expect mastery. You can't journal once and expect clarity. You can't face fear once and expect courage to last. You have to show up again. And again. And again. That's discipline. That's how the edge stays sharp. Most people chase novelty. They want new tricks, new hacks, new philosophies. But a master doesn't chase variety. He refines simplicity. Repetition is mastery. Repetition is identity. Repetition is freedom. When you do something often enough, it becomes automatic. And when it becomes automatic, it becomes power. That's how you sharpen your mind, through consistent mental reps. Silence. Reflection. Deliberate discomfort. Those are your 3 blades. Now let's talk reality. A sharp mind is not comfortable to carry. It cuts through illusion. It sees truth. And truth is heavy. When your mind is sharp, you'll see the games people play. You'll see the lies you've told yourself. You'll see how much of life is distraction dressed as purpose. That's why most people prefer dull minds. They'd rather live in the fog, because the fog is familiar. They'd rather be numb, because numb feels safe. But numbness is not safety. It's slow decay. You have to choose sharpness, even when it hurts. Because that pain is growth. And that growth is freedom. You have a choice. You can stay comfortable and confused. or you can sharpen your mind and see clearly. One path numbs you. The other wakes you up. Remember, a dull mind can't lead. A dull mind can't protect. A dull mind can't adapt. That's why discipline is your sharpener. That's why silence is your forge. That's why reflection is your weapon care. Every day, you must train like your peace depends on it, because it does. When life hits, your mind will be your first line of defense. When pressure rises, your thoughts will decide your fate. If they're sharp, you cut through. If they're dull, you crumble. You decide which. So here's your mental sharpening ritual. Morning, begin with silence. Don't grab your phone. Don't check the world. Sit in stillness and breathe. Set your intention, not your reaction. Midday, step into discomfort. Do one thing that stretches you. Something that tests your patience, focus, or courage. Night, reflect. Review your actions. Write what you learned. Plan how you'll sharpen again tomorrow. That's it. Simple. Powerful. Repeatable. Sharpen the blade daily. Don't wait for crisis to remind you how soft you've become. Prepare now. Sharpen now. Because when the storm comes, and it will, a dull mind won't save you. You have a choice. You can let the world dull your mind. Or you can make it unbreakable. It's not about motivation. It's about maintenance. It's not about comfort. It's about clarity. It's not about talent. It's about training. Your mind is a weapon. Sharpen it daily. That's the key. You've learned to detach from outcomes. You've learned to sharpen your mind. But sharpening isn't enough. You must also control how that mind performs under fire. Because pressure doesn't build character, it exposes it. You trained the blade. Now let's test it. Chapter 5. Control begins where comfort ends. Control doesn't start when things are easy. Control starts when everything inside you wants to quit. That's the truth most people never face. They want power without pain, discipline without discomfort, strength without struggle. But comfort kills control. It softens your edge. It steals your drive. It convinces you you're improving when you're only coasting. Growth doesn't happen in peace. It happens in pressure. It happens in sweat. It happens in silence when no one's watching, and your mind whispers, "Stop." That's the moment. That's the battlefield. That's where control is either built or broken. Because when comfort ends, the real training begins. That's the key. Let's get one thing straight. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your conditioning. And conditioning only happens in discomfort. Anyone can stay composed when life feels good. Anyone can act disciplined when everything's going their way. But what happens when you're tired? What happens when you're hungry, when you're frustrated, when you're doubting yourself? That's when the real version of you appears. That's when control either shows up or disappears. You see, the body doesn't break first. The mind does. That's why special forces training isn't about strength, it's about endurance. The instructors don't care how much you can lift. They care how long you can last. When you're cold. When you're wet. When you're exhausted. When every nerve in your body screams enough. That's where warriors are made. Because in that space, you can't fake discipline. You can't fake resilience. You either have it, or you don't. And here's the truth. You can build it. Every single day, you can train your mind to stay calm inside chaos. But it won't happen by accident. It happens through deliberate discomfort, controlled suffering. That's the key phrase, controlled suffering. You don't need to destroy yourself. You need to test yourself. You need to put yourself in small daily battles that build mental endurance. Take the cold shower. Wake up earlier than you want to. Run when you don't feel like it. Finish the project when your brain says stop. These are not punishments. They're training drills for the mind. Each act of voluntary discomfort tells your brain, I'm in charge. Not the body. Not the feelings. Me. Every rep builds that message deeper. Every rep rewires your reaction. Soon, pain becomes information, not intimidation. Discomfort becomes signal, not suffering. And when that shift happens, when you can face pain and stay still inside, you become unstoppable. Let's break this down. There are 3 stages of discomfort in training control. Stage 1, resistance. You start something hard, and your mind instantly looks for the exit. I don't want this. I don't need this. It's too much. This is the surface layer of weakness. It's loud. It's dramatic. It's fake. It's the mind's first attempt to negotiate with your ambition. You have to push through it fast. You don't debate with weakness. You move through it. Stage 2, fatigue. This is when it starts to get real. Your body slows down. Your focus drifts. Your brain starts rationalizing excuses. This is where most people stop. Not because they're incapable, but because they've mistaken discomfort for danger. Here's the truth. Fatigue is not failure. It's feedback. It's your brain learning where the limit used to be. Push through it, and you expand that limit. Quit here, and the limit owns you forever. Stage 3, stillness. This is where mastery begins. When you've gone through pain, when you've gone through exhaustion, and you find a strange calm on the other side. Your body is screaming, but your mind is silent. You've taken control. You've become the observer, not the victim. That's the highest form of strength, calm in the storm. And you only reach it when comfort dies. People think success is about talent. It's not. It's about endurance. The person who can suffer longer wins. The person who can stay calm in chaos leads. The person who doesn't break when others run controls the game. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the fastest. You just need to stay when others flee. You have a choice. Every day, run toward comfort and lose control, or step into discomfort and gain power. That's the law of mental warfare. That's how warriors are made. Let's get practical. You don't need a battlefield to train control. You can build it in your daily life. Here's how. 1. Create friction. Every day, choose something that stretches your tolerance. Take the stairs. Work in silence. Delay gratification. Stop making everything convenient, because convenience kills awareness. 2. Delay comfort. Don't reach for pleasure as a reflex. Wait. Breathe. Observe the craving. Train yourself to choose when to indulge, not to obey every impulse. That's control. 3. Stay calm in irritation. Traffic. Delays. Rejection. These are not obstacles, they're tests. They're your dojo. If you can keep your composure in small frustrations, you'll own yourself in major ones. That's the key. The truth is, most people want control without paying the price. They say they want strength, but they seek softness. They talk about growth, but chase comfort. You can't have both. You must choose. Comfort gives temporary peace. Discomfort gives permanent power. And the longer you stay inside controlled discomfort, the more calm you become under chaos. You stop reacting. You start responding. You stop running. You start leading. This is what elite performance really means. Control under fire. Let me tell you something powerful. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who can stay calm when everyone else panics. That's not emotionless. That's trained. That's not cold. That's controlled. When comfort ends, composure begins. When composure begins, power rises. And when power rises, nothing external can own you again. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You don't even need the perfect conditions. You just need the courage to step into the discomfort, again and again, until it becomes home. That's mastery. You have a choice. Stay comfortable and controlled by fear, or suffer with purpose and become unshakable. It's not about perfection. It's about endurance. It's not about feeling ready. It's about showing up anyway. It's not about comfort. It's about control. When comfort ends, control begins. That's the key. You've learned how to build control through discomfort. Now it's time to face the truth about pressure, because pain trains you, but pressure reveals you. You can't hide behind preparation when everything collapses. That's where the warrior mind shows its real power. Chapter 6. Train in silence, perform in chaos. The world worships noise. But real power, real control, it's built in silence. When no one's watching. When no one claps. When no one cares. That's where warriors are made. That's where discipline lives. Everyone wants to perform under pressure, but few are willing to prepare in peace. You say you want mental toughness, then stop chasing motivation. Start chasing mastery. Because the truth is simple, you can't rise in chaos if you haven't trained in silence. Think about it. When chaos hits, when pressure mounts, when emotions flare, your body won't rise to your expectations. It will fall to your level of training. And your training doesn't happen when it's convenient. It happens when it's quiet. When it's boring. When you could quit, and no one would ever know. That's the test. That's the moment most people fail. The disciplined monk and the elite athlete share the same secret. They don't wait for applause. They build their strength in silence. Their routines are sacred. Their repetitions are invisible. And when chaos arrives, when the world screams, they move with calm precision. You can't fake that calm. You can't pretend that control. It's earned one silent rep at a time. Train in silence. Dominate in noise. Let that phrase sink in. Because the noise will come. The world will test you. Life will throw its chaos your way. Failure, rejection, betrayal, stress, fatigue. And if you haven't trained your mind to stay still in the quiet, you'll break in the noise. When you practice in silence, you build two things: focus and identity. Focus, because you strip away the distractions. You stop performing for approval. You learn to perform for purpose. Identity, because every silent hour shapes who you are. You're not doing it for likes. You're not doing it for validation. You're doing it because this is who you are now. You're the type of person who works when others sleep. Who prepares when others procrastinate. Who sharpens the mind when others seek comfort. That's how soldiers train. That's how monks meditate. That's how champions build their craft. They understand a universal law of greatness. Consistency beats intensity. Everyone can go hard once. Almost no one can go hard every day. The quiet, daily discipline, that's where the transformation happens. The repetition. The stillness. The boredom. Because boredom is the gatekeeper to mastery. And most people never walk through it. They crave excitement. They crave validation. They crave fast results. But you want control. You want peace under pressure. You want to own your emotions, not be owned by them. Then you must train where no one claps. You have a choice. You can keep chasing noise, trying to look disciplined. Or you can become disciplined, silently, consistently, relentlessly. That's the key. That's the divide between those who talk about control and those who live it. When you train in silence, you remove the ego. You stop asking, "Who's watching me?" And you start asking, "Who am I becoming?" That's the real training. Let me make it clear. You don't need anyone's permission to evolve quietly. You don't need validation to do the work. You don't need attention to grow. In fact, the moment you stop needing it, you become dangerous. Because now you're untouchable. Now your motivation can't be stolen. Now your peace can't be disturbed. You've detached from noise. And when the world loses its mind, you'll move with precision. Train in silence. Dominate in noise. You can test this principle anywhere. In the gym. In your craft. In your relationships. Even in your emotions. Every moment of silence is a rep for your discipline. When you choose patience instead of anger, that's a rep. When you wake up early instead of snoozing, that's a rep. When you sit with your emotions instead of reacting, that's a rep. Each silent rep stacks into resilience. Each quiet choice builds control. That's how you win in chaos, by preparing in peace. Imagine a battlefield. The untrained soldier panics. The trained soldier breathes. Why? Because he's been there before, not in real war, but in training. He's simulated the chaos in silence. He's repeated the process until it became reflex. So when the bullets fly, his mind doesn't shake. That's not talent. That's training. That's the power of quiet consistency. You have the same opportunity. Every day is your training ground. Every silent choice is your practice. Every challenge is your test. You're not building motivation, you're building muscle memory. When your mind learns to stay still in the storm, life slows down. Pressure becomes manageable. Chaos becomes opportunity. That's the power of inner training. Stop waiting for the right environment. Stop waiting for support. Stop waiting for someone to tell you you're ready. You don't need their permission. Because silence is available now. The discipline is free. The work is yours. You train quietly. You fail quietly. You adjust quietly. Then one day, you walk into the noise, and everything slows down. The chaos doesn't touch you. The noise doesn't control you. The pressure becomes your rhythm. You don't flinch. You don't fold. You just perform. That's when the world finally sees what you built in silence. Remember this. The calmest person in the room is always the most powerful, because they've already fought their battles, inside. They've already trained their reactions. They've already mastered their breath. The chaos outside is nothing compared to the order they built within. That's what you're creating when you train in silence. That's the real work. Train in silence. Dominate in noise. That's not just a phrase. It's a lifestyle. It's how you separate yourself from the weak, the distracted, the reactive. Because when the storm comes, and it will, you won't be seeking control. You'll already have it. You've learned that control begins where comfort ends. Now you understand that silence is the forge where control is strengthened. So remember this. Your power doesn't need to be seen. It needs to be earned. And when you earn it in silence, the world will feel it in your presence. You mastered the quiet. Now, let's go deeper. Chapter 7. React less, think more, win always. The fastest person doesn't always win. The calmest one does. In every arena, business, sports, war, relationships, the one who stays composed while everyone else reacts emotionally is the one who walks away victorious. React less. Think more. Win always. That's the code. That's the skill that separates amateurs from professionals, leaders from followers, and winners from everyone else. Most people lose not because they're weak, but because they react too fast. They let emotion speak before logic. They move before they think. They explode before they observe. The result? They give away their power. Every time you react, you hand control to someone else. Every time you speak before thinking, you give away leverage. Every time you let emotion dictate your move, you surrender your advantage. You can't win that way. You can't master yourself that way. In this world, the calm thinker always wins. Why? Because he doesn't waste energy on reactions. He uses emotion as data, not as direction. That's the difference. When chaos hits, the untrained mind panics. The trained mind pauses. It observes, processes, and decides. That pause, that microsecond of stillness, is everything. That's where control lives. That's where strength hides. You have a choice. React emotionally, or respond intelligently. Every time you choose thought over impulse, you gain power. Let's be real. Emotional reactions are easy. Composure is rare. That's why composure is respected. That's why calm leaders attract loyalty. That's why quiet confidence intimidates the loud. The person who reacts less controls the room. They control the energy. They control the outcome. Because when everyone else is loud, your silence becomes authority. Think about negotiation. The rookie reacts to every offer. Every silence makes them uncomfortable. They talk too soon. They reveal too much. They lose the deal. The pro stays silent. They don't rush. They wait. They let the other person reveal themselves. Because silence makes most people nervous, and nervous people make mistakes. React less. Think more. Win always. That's the psychology of control. Same in leadership. The weak leader reacts to every problem like it's a crisis. They make emotional decisions. They overcorrect. Their team loses trust. The strong leader remains calm. They don't chase every noise. They assess. They plan. They move with intention. That calm spreads. Their team feels it. Their people trust it. Composure is contagious. So is chaos. You decide which one you bring into the room. In crisis management, the same rule applies. The emotional person panics. They make short-term decisions to ease discomfort. They react to symptoms, not causes. The composed mind steps back. It sees patterns, not panic. It acts strategically, not emotionally. That's how you win, not by reacting faster, but by thinking deeper. You have a choice. You can train your emotions, or they can train you. And make no mistake, emotion will train you if you let it. It will teach you to fear silence. It will teach you to chase validation. It will teach you to overreact just to feel alive. But you're not here to be emotional. You're here to be effective. It's not about passion. It's about precision. It's not about control over others. It's about control over yourself. That's the key. So how do you develop composure? You start small. When someone insults you, pause. When someone disagrees, breathe. When something frustrates you, wait. Don't react. Observe. Analyze. Then choose your move with clarity. That's how you train your emotional muscle. The longer the pause between stimulus and response, the stronger your control. Because here's the truth. Emotional control is not suppression. It's strategy. It's not pretending you don't feel. It's deciding how you'll use what you feel. Anger can fuel discipline, if you channel it. Fear can sharpen focus, if you face it. Doubt can create humility, if you study it. Every emotion is data. Only fools throw data away. The wise use it. That's the difference between reaction and response. React less. Think more. Win always. It's not just a mindset, it's a weapon. The calm mind sees what chaos hides. The calm mind notices opportunities others miss. The calm mind operates while others panic. And in life, the one who can keep their head when everyone else loses theirs, wins every time. You've seen it in fighters. One loses control, swings wild, burns out. The other stays patient, strategic, calculating. He waits. He strikes once, perfectly. That's the power of composure. In everyday life, you can apply this right now. When your boss criticizes you, don't react defensively. Ask questions. Learn. Adapt. You grow faster that way. When someone argues emotionally, don't mirror their chaos. Mirror calm. Your stillness will unnerve them. When life hits you with sudden problems, don't drown in frustration. Breathe. Simplify. Focus on what you can control. That's how you start winning, one calm decision at a time. Understand this. The world is designed to provoke you. Social media thrives on reaction. News thrives on outrage. People test your patience daily. Every moment is a test of control. And every time you react less, you become stronger. You don't need their approval. You don't need to defend your peace. You don't need to prove you're calm. Just hold it. The loudest one in the room usually loses. The calm one is already planning the next move. So the next time someone tries to pull you into drama, remember your mantra. React less. Think more. Win always. Every pause builds discipline. Every breath builds focus. Every silence builds power. Control your reaction, and you control your life. Let the world panic. You stay poised. Let them rush. You stay deliberate. Let them shout. You stay silent. Because while they react, you're thinking. While they argue, you're observing. While they crumble, you're calculating. And when it's time, you act. Decisively. Intelligently. Powerfully. That's how calm thinkers win every battle. Remember this truth. You can't think clearly while you're reacting emotionally. You can't see strategy through the fog of impulsiveness. You can't master your world until you master your pause. That's the skill. That's the discipline. That's the difference. React less. Think more. Win always. You've learned to train in silence and perform in chaos. Now you've discovered the next level, mastering your reactions. Because emotional control is not just about peace. It's about power. And when you can think while everyone else reacts, you're already 3 moves ahead. You've learned to pause. Now let's talk about purpose. Chapter 8. Pressure is your real teacher. Pressure. Everyone says they want success. Everyone says they want greatness. But when pressure hits, when the lights go on, when the stakes rise, when the comfort disappears, most people crumble. And that's the moment truth is revealed. Because pressure doesn't break you. It shows you. It shows your preparation. It shows your habits. It shows your mind. It shows the parts of you that training, talking, or pretending could never expose. When life gets heavy, when everything starts to squeeze you, that's not the time to complain. That's the time to learn who you really are. Pressure is your real teacher. You can practice all day when it's easy. You can preach confidence when no one's watching. But when the moment comes, when your heart rate spikes, when your hands shake, when the world demands results, all your pretending dies. The real you comes forward. You either rise or you fold. That's why pressure is not your enemy. It's your test. It's your feedback. It's the mirror that doesn't lie. Think of the boxer. He trains perfectly. His jab is sharp. His movement is clean. He's unbeatable in the gym. Then fight night comes. The crowd screams. The lights blind. His breath shortens. His heart pounds out of control. And suddenly, he's not the same fighter. Because he trained his body. But he never trained his mind. He never learned to be calm under pressure. He never trained for chaos. Pressure doesn't break you. It shows you. Pressure reveals the difference between practice and mastery. It separates the ones who say they're ready from the ones who actually are. Because discipline that only works when it's easy isn't discipline. It's decoration. Anyone can focus when things are calm. Anyone can act strong when nothing's on the line. But pressure strips away your comfort and your mask. It leaves only truth. That's the key. Pressure isn't here to punish you. It's here to refine you. So the next time you feel it closing in, the deadlines, the expectations, the weight, don't run. Don't complain. Don't look for escape. Stay. Feel it. Use it. Because pressure is the proof that you're in the game. The people who feel no pressure are the ones sitting on the sidelines. The ones not pushing. The ones not growing. You're feeling it because you're doing something that matters. Understand this. Pressure is not pain, it's feedback. It's your environment telling you, you're being tested. Now show me your training. You can't simulate that in comfort. You can't fake it in practice. You can only face it when it's real. Pressure exposes weakness, yes, but that's good. Because what you can see, you can strengthen. What you can measure, you can master. The weak avoid pressure. The strong invite it. They know every challenge is a diagnostic. Every stressful moment is data. They don't say, "Why is this happening to me?" They say, "What is this teaching me?" That's the difference. You have a choice. You can run from pressure, or you can grow under it. You can break, or you can build. The outcome isn't random. It's trained. It's disciplined. Because composure under pressure doesn't just appear. It's practiced, daily. Through deliberate discomfort. Through putting yourself in hard situations and staying calm. You have to train your nervous system the same way you train your muscles. Cold showers, early mornings, public speaking, difficult conversations. All of it is training. All of it is exposure therapy for the mind. You're building tolerance. You're conditioning your calm. Pressure doesn't disappear when you grow, it multiplies. So stop waiting for life to get easier. Start getting stronger. If you can't handle pressure at level 1, you'll never survive level 10. That's why it's testing you now, to prepare you. Pressure is the price of purpose. You want a bigger mission? You get a heavier weight. You want more success? You get more scrutiny. That's the exchange. You don't get greatness without gravity. And here's the truth. Pressure doesn't care how you feel. It responds to how you prepare. When chaos hits, it's not about emotion, it's about execution. It's not about comfort, it's about consistency. If you've done the work, pressure becomes your ally. It sharpens your focus. It speeds your decision-making. It activates your best self. But if you've been coasting, pressure will crush you. Because it exposes the gaps you've been ignoring. That's why I say, pressure isn't cruel. It's honest. It shows you exactly what you've built, or failed to build. So how do you respond? How do you make pressure your ally, not your enemy? First, breathe. The first thing pressure attacks is your breath. It makes your chest tighten, your thoughts race, your vision narrow. Slow it down. Control your breathing, and you control your body. Control your body, and you regain your mind. Second, simplify. Under pressure, the brain wants to complicate everything. It panics, overthinks, and floods with noise. Simplify your focus. One task. One move. One objective. Third, rehearse chaos. Train for stress before stress arrives. Simulate pressure in training. Build it into your process. If you want calm in crisis, you must experience crisis before it's real. That's how elite soldiers, athletes, and leaders operate. They don't hope for calm. They create it. Remember, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of training. So train hard. Train often. Train under pressure. Because no amount of motivation can save you when the moment hits. Only discipline can. Pressure doesn't break you. It shows you. And when it shows you, don't run. Study it. Fix it. Strengthen it. That's how you evolve from emotional to unshakable. Life will keep testing you. That's its job. Every new level comes with new pressure. Every new goal demands a stronger mind. Don't pray for it to stop. Pray to endure it better. Pray to be sharper, calmer, stronger under it. Because pressure is not punishment, it's proof of progress. If you're feeling it, you're growing. If it's heavy, it means you're lifting something that matters. You have a choice every time it shows up. Collapse, or calibrate. Panic, or perform. Fear it, or face it. The trained mind chooses the second every time. That's the key. That's mastery. Pressure doesn't break you. It shows you. And what it shows, you can refine. You can sharpen. You can rebuild. So let pressure come. Let it reveal you. Then rebuild stronger than before. Because every time you pass a pressure test, you become more dangerous, more composed, more precise, more powerful. That's how warriors are built. You've learned to think under stress. You've learned to control the noise. Now it's time to master the next weapon of the disciplined mind, the power that commands respect without saying a word. You've faced the fire. Now, you'll learn the silence. Chapter 9. Build an inner fortress. Calm is not a gift. Calm is built. Every moment of stillness you earn through work, through discipline, through training. Most people believe calm is natural, that some people are just zen, or chill, or unbothered. But that's a lie. Calm is construction. It's brick by brick. It's built in silence, through repetition, through ritual. You don't find peace by escaping pressure. You find peace by mastering it. You don't wait for the world to be quiet. You build quiet within yourself. That's your fortress. That's your weapon. That's the only way you survive chaos without losing yourself. Because life will attack you. The world will test you. Pressure will come, not once but over and over again. And when it does, you must already be fortified. You must already have your walls built, your foundation steady, your discipline sharpened. Calm is not passive. It's not weakness. It's strength restrained. 1. Calm is built, not gifted. Understand this. Control is not emotional suppression. It's not pretending you don't feel. It's learning to command what you feel. That's the key. You can't control the storm outside. But you can control your response. You can't stop people from judging you, lying to you, or betraying you. But you can control your emotional reaction. That's what separates warriors from wanderers, self-command. And self-command doesn't come from motivation. It comes from routine. It comes from discipline, not impulse. When you wake up early, not because you feel like it, but because you said you would, that's training your inner fortress. When you sit in silence for 10 minutes each morning, while your mind screams for distraction, that's laying another brick. When you breathe instead of reacting, pause instead of shouting, observe instead of judging, that's how walls are built. Calm is not natural. Calm is conditioned. The undisciplined mind collapses under pressure. The trained mind adapts. Every day, you're either strengthening your fortress or leaving it undefended. Every distraction, every reaction, every emotional spiral, that's a crack in the wall. So you must build. Every day. You have a choice. 2. The tools of construction. How do you build it? You build it through small, deliberate acts of self-control. Start with morning stillness. Before the noise begins, take 10 minutes to do nothing. No phone. No rush. Just you and your breath. Feel the stillness. Listen to the quiet. That's your anchor. When you own the first minutes of your day, you own your state. Next, journaling. Write down your chaos. Don't suppress it. Translate it into clarity. When you put emotions on paper, they lose control over you. You begin to see patterns. You begin to understand what triggers you. You turn confusion into comprehension. Then, intentional detachment. You don't need to react to everything. You don't need to comment on every opinion. You don't need to attend every battle. Detachment is not coldness. It's control. You don't fight every noise. You choose your wars. You don't chase validation. You build self-respect. You don't demand peace. You embody it. That's the discipline. That's the fortress. Every routine you commit to is another wall, another gate, another defense against chaos. And soon you realize, you don't get pulled into emotional storms as easily. You don't overreact. You don't crumble under insult or stress. Because you're anchored. You're not floating in life anymore. You're grounded. Repeat this until it becomes a command in your subconscious. I am not controlled by the world. I am anchored within. Say it again. I am not controlled by the world. I am anchored within. That's the mantra of strength. 3. When the world tests you. Because it will. Life doesn't care how many books you read or how many quotes you post. Life will test what you've built. You'll lose people. You'll be disrespected. You'll face uncertainty, rejection, exhaustion. That's when you'll discover what your inner fortress is really made of. When you can stay calm while someone insults you, you've won. When you can stay focused while the world screams for your attention, you've evolved. When you can smile under pressure, breathe through pain, and think while others panic, that's mastery. Pressure doesn't break you. It shows you. It shows you where your walls are strong, and where they still leak. So when the storm comes, don't curse it. Don't run from it. Use it. Pressure is a test, a mirror, a teacher. It reveals your true preparation. You don't need calm circumstances. You need a calm core. You don't need an easy life. You need a trained mind. You don't need their approval. You need your discipline. That's the shift. That's the foundation of control. Because when you are anchored within, no one can manipulate you. No one can control your emotions. No one can pull you into their chaos. You stop reacting, and you start leading. You stop chasing peace, and you start creating it. This is the paradox of strength. The stronger you are within, the softer you can appear without. Because nothing threatens you anymore. The warrior is calm because he's ready. The weak man is loud because he's afraid. Build your fortress so completely that chaos becomes your training ground. Build your calm so deeply that peace becomes your default state. 4. The daily command. So what do you do from here? You make it a daily mission. You wake up and choose calm. You move slowly and think deliberately. You breathe before reacting. You observe before responding. You keep your rituals sacred. You guard your morning silence. You journal your battles. You practice detachment. Because this is not theory. This is war. And every day you fail to build, the world will build for you, with noise, distraction, and manipulation. You have a choice. Build your fortress or be ruled by chaos. Lead your emotions or be led by them. The world belongs to those who are unshakable. Be one of them. You've learned to use pressure. You've built your inner calm. But there's one more step, the final layer of mastery. It's not just about being calm. It's about being still, completely centered in the storm, untouchable, unmovable. You mastered control. Now, you'll master peace. Chapter 10. The calm mind wins every time. When chaos erupts, most people panic. They lose clarity. They lose discipline. They lose control. But the calm mind, the trained mind, sees clearly. It sees opportunity in disaster. It sees patterns in confusion. It sees what others miss. That's the difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary. That's the difference between those who break and those who rise. Because in the end, it's not the strongest who win. It's not the loudest who lead. It's not the fastest who last. It's the calmest. The calm mind wins every time. 1. The calm mind sees what fear hides. When panic hits, your vision narrows. You stop thinking. You start reacting. You get emotional, impulsive, desperate. That's how people destroy opportunities. That's how they lose control of everything, not because the problem was too big, but because they were too emotional to think clearly. But the calm mind? It doesn't freeze. It doesn't flinch. It observes. It plans. It executes. That's the key. You can't control what happens, but you can always control your internal state. You have a choice, to be ruled by fear or guided by focus. Fear blinds. Calm reveals. Fear reacts. Calm responds. Fear collapses. Calm adapts. Think about it. A firefighter running into a burning building isn't calm because the fire isn't dangerous. He's calm because he's trained. A surgeon isn't calm because the operation is easy. She's calm because she's prepared. A warrior isn't calm because the battlefield is safe. He's calm because chaos is familiar. That's the secret. Calm comes from repetition under pressure. You build it every time you stay composed when you want to explode. You strengthen it every time you breathe instead of break. The calm mind is not emotional numbness. It's emotional mastery. You still feel, but you choose what to do with those feelings. You don't let anger dictate your actions. You don't let fear decide your fate. You don't let doubt poison your plan. You pause. You breathe. You think. You move. And because of that, you always stay one step ahead. 2. The calm mind is ancient power. This isn't new wisdom. This is ancient truth. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire surrounded by war, betrayal, and chaos. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's stoicism, emotional control as a form of power. And it's just as relevant now as it was 2,000 years ago. Every great achiever understands this principle. The greatest athletes, leaders, and creators all share one skill: the ability to stay calm when others lose control. Think of Michael Jordan missing a shot and walking away unfazed. Think of Kobe Bryant analyzing failure like a scientist, not mourning it like a victim. Think of a Navy SEAL under fire, heart steady, hands sure, voice level. That's not luck. That's conditioning. They practiced composure until it became instinct. They built calm into their identity. And that's what you must do. You can't wait until life gets easier. You train your calm before the storm comes. You don't need a peaceful world. You need a disciplined nervous system. You don't need less stress. You need stronger focus. It's not about avoiding tension. It's about transforming it into control. It's not about hoping for peace. It's about creating peace inside your mind. Because when your mind is still, the noise of the world loses its power. When your thoughts are clear, fear has nowhere to hide. When your emotions are disciplined, your decisions become unstoppable. That's the true mark of mastery. That's how leaders think. That's how warriors move. 3. The calm mind is a strategy. Don't mistake calmness for passivity. Calm doesn't mean soft. Calm means surgical. While others are busy reacting, you're calculating. While others are distracted, you're observing. While others are losing their composure, you're gaining advantage. That's strategy. That's how calm wins. When your opponent loses control, they lose precision. They overreach. They make mistakes. You stay patient. You stay centered. You stay dangerous. This is how negotiation works. This is how business works. This is how life works. The one who keeps their cool controls the room. The one who controls the room controls the outcome. So stop trying to beat others with emotion. Beat them with clarity. Stop trying to prove yourself through noise. Prove yourself through presence. That's real strength. That's real power. When others yell, you lower your tone. When others rush, you slow down. When others react, you breathe. Because calm is control, and control is advantage. You can't lead anyone until you can lead yourself. And you can't lead yourself until you've mastered your mind. 4. The calm mind learns while others lose. Every loss carries a lesson. But most people are too emotional to see it. They panic, they blame, they spiral, and they miss the gift inside the pain. The calm mind doesn't do that. The calm mind sees feedback where others see failure. The calm mind turns setbacks into data. That's how growth happens. That's how mastery develops. When others break, you breathe. When others panic, you plan. When others lose, you learn. Say it again. When others break, I breathe. When others panic, I plan. When others lose, I learn. That's your mantra. That's your weapon. That's your edge. You're not racing against anyone else. You're racing against your own impulsive nature. You're mastering the only battlefield that truly matters, your inner world. Because when you can stay calm in conflict, you control the outcome. When you can stay calm in uncertainty, you discover opportunity. When you can stay calm in chaos, you find direction. That's the formula for every great victory in history. 5. The daily discipline of calm. Calm doesn't happen automatically. You train it daily. You train it in traffic. You train it when plans change. You train it when people test your patience. Every irritation is a rep. Every frustration is a drill. You are conditioning yourself to remain composed under stress. You pause instead of snapping. You think instead of assuming. You act with purpose instead of reacting with ego. Each time you do this, your mind grows stronger. Each time you breathe instead of break, your control deepens. You have a choice, every single day, to let the world dictate your state, or to anchor your state from within. To be emotional, or to be intentional. That's the work. That's the mastery. Because the calm mind is not born, it's built. Brick by brick. Breath by breath. Choice by choice. And when you've built it, nothing can shake it. You've reached the end of this training. You've learned the discipline of control. You've learned the power of detachment, breath, pressure, and calm. Now, it's time to live it. The calm mind wins every time, not because it avoids life's battles, but because it conquers them from within. So remember this when the world tests you. When others break, you breathe. When others panic, you plan. When others lose, you learn. That's how warriors think. That's how leaders act. That's how mastery begins. You've built the foundation. Now live from it. Because you don't need the world to calm down. You just need to rise above it. You mastered the mind. Now, become unshakable.